obviously, this is Joe Stevenson. We're getting ready to welcome here to MMAOddsBreaker. We're actually talking beards. So what you have to do, and I have to get a boar's hair brush. You can get it in Walmart, Target, whatever. Just find a boar's hair brush. You have to brush it now all the time, like regular hair. Now, because you've had it for 3 months and it's starting to get scraggly, like at the edges, right? You just take a regular pair of, you have hair trimmers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just take hair trimmers and you only catch the hair that's sticking out. You don't trim the whole beard. Just the little ones that are sticking out to give it shape, because facial hair, like mine especially, some of it's dead straight and some of it's super kinky curly. So like it doesn't all grow at the same length. You have to kind of like trim it out. And then I use Mod Cabin beard products, which is like oils and balms and stuff to keep it soft, and it's basically so it'll style right. But I just got hooked on Court McGee's company too. Court has a beard company called Old Abe, and it's the stuff is amazing. I just bought a bunch to kind of check it out. I just got that. So Mod Cabin and Old Abe are the two beard product companies that I use, and they're amazing. And it'll lay straight and start laying down, and you start shaping it, and you start doing crazy stuff with it.
I've let my hair grow because I've been lazy, and I've told people no shave November. So I mean, 30 days is the longest. This 3 months, and I still got like 10 more weeks before my fight.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fight with the beard.
Oh, good. Okay. Go to a good barber. Really, you can go to a good barber too, and have him give you a nice hard line. Like he'll go in and give you a hard line.
Well, I'm jealous of you because like this is not. It's not like I shaved this. You know.
Right.
Like,
it just doesn't grow.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So secret. I'm patchy right here. Like where you are empty here, I'm patchy right here. So what my barber does is he cuts my line lower so it doesn't show the patch. Before, I was literally doing a beard comb over. I let it grow really long, and I'd cover the patch by combing it over. He's like, no, just cut the line down lower. So now my beard is lower because my barber's like, it's too patchy there. Like, let's just shape it up. You go to a good barber, he'll fix it so it looks like a real thick, real heavy beard, but it'll be around your lines. Where you don't grow, he'll just cut it out, and like shape it up. So
I often don't learn things new that like are going to benefit my life, and you tend to give me some advice often. This beard thing is not the first time you've given me good advice. You told me one of my fighters went up to you one time and was like, hey, he was talking about, when you should quit fighting and how he gets nervous. And you're like, what happens when you don't get nervous anymore? And you were like, well, then you shouldn't fight.
Yeah.
And
done. It's over.
And then the knee to the bladder.
Yeah.
Knee to the bladder. Two things that like, I mean, I've
dude, that
teach,
was.
But when I teach that, I tell them.
Dude, that
you told me.
That conversation was like 12 years ago. The knee to the bladder. That was forever. It's like, I'm surprised you remember that. And for those who don't know, the first time I fought Dennis Hallman in the WFA, World Fighting Alliance, I kneed him in the bladder, and he went down saying it was a groin shot where they kept replaying on the big screen. You could see that it was, and this is before this is a rule change they made later, that boxing below the belt, if you hit a guy on the belt line, it's below the belt, that's illegal. In MMA, you just can't hit him in the cup. So if he's got for men, obviously women, same area though, but if you have a cup on, you can't hit the cup. That's below the belt. They didn't actually define that until I hit Dennis in the bladder, and it shut him down. He couldn't fight anymore. Like I hit him in the bladder just right, and it canceled him. So that's like Boss Wheaton's liver kick and my knee to the bladder, the two best things you can hit.
The only advice I can give people is it took me, I think, about 10 years of fighting to learn to pee out the bottom side of my shorts and cup instead of trying to untie them, pull it down.
Yes.
No, just pull it over and pee out the bottom. That took me a while.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. So obviously the reason why I do a lot of reffing for California Fight League, which is Joe's promotion. He's actually had me on Kingdom, which he is the fight coordinator for Kingdom with Nick Jonas and with Frank Grillo. You've seen on DirecTV. Keith Campbell's a stunt coordinator, but Joe brings me in the ref quite a bit. I did, I think, 2 episodes last season, and hopefully I'll have 4 or 5 or 10 this season.
Back in October, right?
Yeah, can't wait. It's fun. It's a great show to be on to work. But you're fighting again. Like you're going to fight July 30th for California Fight League. Your promotion, obviously, you're going to be. I'm assuming you're the main event. That's your promotion.
Yeah.
Joe, you are 0-6 in your last 6 fights. You haven't fought since January of 2015. You retired. You're coming out of retirement to fight. Why? Like you've accomplished so much in the sport already. You've got other stuff outside the sport. Why fight now?
Because I'm a fighter, and that's what we do. I mean, who the heck wants to tell? What's the most common question that I'm often asked? When's your next fight? That's like one of the big, like no matter what, it's like, hey, when's your next fight? And it wears on you.
Yeah.
And if you're not fighting as a fighter, then you're coaching. But at the age of 33, I had to reevaluate some things. I mean, I quit drinking. It's been 4 years that I haven't drank. I felt great my last fight, but I weighed 157 for that fight. And I weighed in and fought at 55. So I was on a Z-Pack. I was taking antibiotics every day. And I still went 5 rounds and went to a split decision. I mean, honestly, it made me feel good. I punctured my eardrum. So like in the 5th round, all I could hear was,
oh, tonight. Yeah. Okay.
Not only that, but I was bleeding, but it felt good. I felt alive again.
Okay.
And I want to be able to tell people I won my last fight. That's a big thing. I want to be able to step away a winner.
Yeah.
And I also want to build my organization. I have some really talented fighters like Juan Archuleta, Jamal Pogues, these guys that can go into any room in the world. And when they practice, everyone stops and watches them. And I want to showcase them. I'm kind of and the easiest way to do that is to put on a great card and to fight. And then I'm like, cool, I want to promote these guys. Then it rings on me, like it dawns on me, well, shoot, man, I'm starting to feel good. I'm working with Dr. Calavita, who's got me on a heart monitor, teaching me about peak performance, about overtraining. I realize, I've done it wrong my whole life.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. And one of my fighters, Jamal Pogues, he goes, hey, coach, you could hit 50 wins, because I'm very close to 50 fights.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's like, it wouldn't be unheard for you to get 50 wins, coach.
No, I'm looking at Sherdog, and it has you as 31-16. Is that your correct record?
No, they're missing stuff on there. There's they're missing a loss to Maurice Wilson.
Okay.
Who, he got stabbed and died. They're missing some fights, like underground fights at Fabiano Ijas against like Dave Roberts at 215.
So what's your record? Do you know what your record is right now?
No, I mean, I honestly need to sit down and look at it and be like, oh, they're missing this, they're missing this. They didn't use any of my fights from The Ultimate Fighter because for their own personal gain.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, we don't want to make these sanctioned fights because then by law in Nevada, they have to announce them.
Yeah.
So, and I understand if the fight only went 2 rounds, but I finished everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone I fought in the UFC after.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some things that could be argued. But I think the journey is what we're all in it for.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because I'm looking at your record here on Sherdog, and it's saying you have 19 fights left. That's a lot of fights to get in, to get to 50. So obviously it's not, hopefully it's a little bit closer to 8 or 9 fights, not 19.
I think it's like 10 to maybe 15 to get 50 wins.
Okay.
And I mean, if I've learned anything, it was taking all these fights in the UFC. I lost 4 in a row, and that was because I needed to pay my mortgage. My wife didn't work at the time. She was just watching the kids. And I mean, I got a house payment. I got all these things. I tore a pec. It's like, you can't pull out. I mean, I remember conversations saying, hey, I'm hurt. I got cut. I don't want to fight this fight. And they're like, oh, well, cool. Then when are you going to fight again? Because it's not going to be for a while. And you're like, oh, no. So, I mean, I've always stepped up and fought. Like, we're different. We fought people. I was called when I was 19 to fight you. And I was like, hell no, this guy wrestled in art.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are crazy. But we come from a different time. Now people are pussyfooting around about records, protecting. They know if you're a heavyweight, you can get in the UFC at 4-0. But, I mean, and then we're all disappointed when we watch those guys fight.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, he ran. Well, he's not a real fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to understand why you're fighting. Is it to be the greatest of all time, to make it one last run, to get that title shot? Are you just happy to be there, or are you going to do something when you get there? And I'm not done. I feel like when you die, if you have unfinished business, you get left on the earth as a ghost, they say.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. Like, I still beat up people in the room on a regular basis, and it pisses me off that it's not
for money. Yeah. I had the same conversation with BJ Penn when he decided to come back, and it's like, why? Like, you just like BJ, You've done enough in the sport. You've got other things going on outside the sport now. You can be an ambassador for the sport. You don't need back in that cage. He told me the same thing you did. He's like, because I still fight. I still have it. Like, I still want to do it. You know, it's like, for me, the transition was a little bit easier because it was financial. For me to fight, I when I retired from fighting, I owed $14,000. Like, so I retired from fighting and still owed people money from fighting because I didn't make enough money as a fighter. So it was like, I'm not at the top end of the game anymore. I'm not ever going to get $100,000 payday. Like, I was a 15-15, 20-20 guy. That's where I was at that time in the system. And for me, it's like, fighting 3 times a year, say I win every single fight and I'm 20-20. So that's 120,000 I make on the year, but I'm only coming home with 60 because the rest of it has to go someplace else. Then on that 60, I have to pay taxes. So I'm really only coming home with 42. It's like, so on 42,000, I have to take care of 4 kids and at the time a wife, and it's like, there's no way it can happen. There's just no way.
I remember I was fighting out of the country most of my fights in the last part, and you pay like at minimum 33.3% tax there. I paid my agent 20%. I gave Mike Winklejohn 10% and Greg Jackson 10% because it wasn't never about the money.
Yeah.
It's always been about the fight.
About getting that fight in.
And that's what I love. There's a few of us out there still doing that, but there's some people that kind of give fighting a bad name. Oh, where they're clearly fighting for money, or they're fighting, like, they'll throw a fight, not saying they do, but like they'll take a fight knowing they're going to lose. And I understand how it is. Like, I can't stand hearing when I hear promoters like, oh yeah, I'll get you the right fight. Like, you know what? We're not talking.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's like, I'm not going to take a fight without there being a chance to lose. Like, it has to be something that scares me and tells me, as of right now, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I shower so I don't itch when I do my low base run of 45 to 55 minutes. Then I get back home. I wake my kids up personally, feed them, take them to school, drop them off, go to my gym and coach my first morning practice, then do either my lifting or then recover and then do my next practice at night, pick my kids up from school because I'm kind of doing some things on my own right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. Like, it's a man's schedule. You're doing man shit every day. It's a man's schedule. Like, men get up early and do their early runs, and they come in and get the kids up, get them ready to go. And like, you're being a man. Do you want to talk about being a single dad a little bit right now?
It's kind of fresh, so I kind of want to wait on that one.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
FaceTime, you see me get teary-eyed.
Yeah, hey, and like I told you before, you can hit me up anytime because I have all sorts of advice and suggestions for you. But remember, they're only advice and it's only suggestions. You can do what you want with it. It's like, you don't have to because Trigg said so. But I've been in the same boat. I get it, man, and it's a scary thing to go through. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, I got to do this now. I got to figure out how to do this now. And but it's part of the game. It's part of your process. It's part of like why you still want to fight.
It made me feel alive.
Yeah,
it definitely does. It's pushed me. It's made me better. My kids, they look at me. They ask me questions like, "Dad, how come everyone goes so hard on me, no matter what? There's no easy match for them." Yeah. And I'm like, "It's because you're my son. I'm sorry." Yeah, I explained to them. Yeah, and then they're like, "Wow." And then now they see me doing what I'm doing, and they go to me and they're like, "Dad, I was like, you guys understand why Daddy has to do this and why I do this, right?" And they're like, "Yes." And I was like, "Why?" "Because you need to do your very best, just like we need to do our very best. And that's how we make it as a family." And it made me want to cry.
Yeah. That's awesome. So let's talk about your fight. Who's the opponent that you got picked for? And how did you pick him?
Well, we have a matchmaker, Jason Glaza, who we actually have 2 to 3 opponents lined up because a tendency that happens is they drop out. And it's hard. Like right now we have 2 guys that have well above 25 fights each, and one was all about it, and now all of a sudden, he's not picking up the call, it's getting close to the time, so now it's got to be another guy. And honestly, I just want to fight. So I don't get to talk about the guy just yet until we put it in the books and everyone to see it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I want to make sure he signs that contract.
Yeah, and hold him accountable. And that is one of the problems. Like I said, I ref a lot for California Fight League. we'll get the preliminary when I get hired for the job. I get the preliminary who's fighting who, and then we show up day of, and like it's completely different. I'm like, what the hell happened? He's like, dude, guys fall out. This guy didn't make weight. This guy didn't show up. Like just no call, no showed for weigh-ins. It's like, and so you guys are scrambling the day of, like to keep the fight together half the time.
Dude, this time, since this is our first pro-am card through the commission, what we've done is we've got like 6 really good pros, and we're going to match them with accurate, good opponents. We've got everyone from heavyweights. I got Juan on the card. I got Jamal. I got Cody. I got like all these great guys that are going to be on this card. And then we're going to have probably like another, I want to say 10 amateur fights. So we're going to try to put on 16.
Okay.
16 altogether. Now, come the fight time, though, instead of changing opponents and stuff like that, we're just going to cut the fights. If it drops, we're like, okay, you know what? Your opponent dropped. We're not going to try to mess with you. Here's your whatever we owe you, your show. We're just going to keep it that way, so it's as clean and mature as possible.
Yeah, and so we could literally be walking into a card where there's just 6 fights, and it's all the pros because all the amateurs fall out from one another, and that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is we have 16 fights.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
Well, the amateurs, it's funny. Amateurs really respect the show, but all the tough guys always want in. They're always like, oh, yeah, because they want to fight and have a ref like you or Beltran.
Or Mark Smith,
They respect our opinion, like, it's like street cred.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to have that. This is our like 7th fight, and to have street cred like that, that's crazy.
That's pretty awesome. Well, Joe, thanks so much for coming on here with us, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk again once the opponent's been announced and check in and see how it's coming. I just want to find out, like, why are you still doing it? Why are you getting it? And, it's not for me because, as a, reffing now, I don't want to step back into that side of it. Like, I want to be a ref. That's like, I'd love
I'm
it.
so glad you're a ref because you've been there. You know what it feels like. I mean, it's crazy, Frank. Like, I wish more fighters would stop like hating bad decisions and become judges. Stop. Get involved in the sport. All you are is talking unless you get in and you get up.
Well, it's how it started. Like, I was bitching and complaining to John McCarthy about something. He's like, come take my course. Stop being a weenie and come take my course. I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever. I'll come take it. And I was like, I thought stuff was legal that was illegal. Stuff that I thought was illegal was legal. Like, it was crazy. It was an eye-opener. And then I started doing it, and I got lucky with John as my mentor, and Mike Beltran got thrown on me because John's like, I got to travel too much. So we got to, hold Trigg's hand. And Beltran yelled at me like the first 4 or 5 fights we worked together. He was on my ass the entire time and holding me to a higher standard. And a lot of people say there should be more fighters, should be judging and reffing. And I'm like, look, that's like saying that Michael Jordan there should be more guys coaching basketball. Michael Jordan, the best basketball player of all time, is a horrible coach. And not everybody can coach, not everybody can ref, not everybody can. It's not for everybody. Yes, do we have a better understanding as refs and judges? Sure. Have we been in there and we get it? Sure. Joe Rogan's never been in there, but he's one hell of a commentator talking about it. He sure knows what's going on.
Right.
So it's like,
because he's old.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's not necessarily for everybody, but yeah, I do agree that more guys, if you're going to bitch and complain about something, then and you have a shot to go fix it. And that was what I did,
Well, I'm going to go actually do John's course. That's funny. You said I've already talked to Beltran about it. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm going to do it is so that I can coach better.
I'm telling you, Joe, every single fighter, every single manager, every single coach should be in either John McCarthy's or Herb Dean's reffing and judging course. You will learn so much.
Brain, right? Like you learn, there's things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, the guy on bottom is trying to get a stand-up, so I'm not going to stand him up right away because he's not allowing the guy on top to try to work.
Yeah.
So, you never think of that stuff. Stand him up, rep. Stand him up. Well, I would, but your guy's holding him.
He's not doing anything.
The other guys, the top guy's not holding your guy. The bottom guy is holding. I had Juan tell me the other day, he goes, everyone's always talking about how we hold people down. And he goes, I go, Juan, our goal, our actual game plan is always to get the takedown, stay up, and strike. And that's our goal. And he goes, I know, coach, I know. And they're like, I hold them down. But the thing is, I'm trying to hit him. And I go, but who's holding you? He goes, the bottom guy. I was like, so you should be like, honestly, I watched the fight over. You held me the whole time trying to get a stand up.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about it is like if you're on the bottom, you want to get stood up, stand up.
Yeah.
Like don't wait on us. Don't wait on the ref to stand you up because
that should always be the number one. I teach all my fighters. Number one thing on bottom, stand up.
Get up.
No matter what.
Submissions will happen. Even if they're great submission guys, you will find a submission as you're trying to get to your feet. Submissions will become apparent in the scramble.
You're a great wrestler. Yeah. Number one move on bottom, stand up.
Get up.
Opens up space for a switch, reversal. Creates opportunity for a submission or a strike.
Yeah.
I mean that wrestling applies to fighting.
And it's just crazy. Like I'm telling you, like I honestly believe everyone's got to take those courses. Everyone should go in there and take the 3-day weekend and go take the course. You will learn an assload of stuff. It is so amazing the stuff that you figure out. Like,
I know people that fail. I know people that have failed the courses, and I mean it's not like you pay to get a freaking certificate. No, you got to pass this course.
I will say this: McCarthy has a standard, like it's like 18% pass rate of his course. Like there's like basically of a class of 12, 2 people are getting through. That's it. Like it's like that's it. And I took it twice. The first time I didn't test because I was doing this as a commentator. I want to know what the judges and referees are looking at, so I want to be a better commentator. The second time I went through and took it, and John was like, "Oh yeah, you have to come through and test." I'm like, "Okay, so I'll show up on testing day." He's like, "Oh no, you have to come back through and take the entire course." I'm like, "Son of a bitch!" So I went and take I had to spend the whole freaking weekend doing it. Went through, and then he failed me again. And I had to go take 6 weeks of privates with him. I had to drive from Vegas down, because I was going to LA to work a lot anyway. So I was driving in, would go over to his gym, and we sit there for 2 hours once a week and go over everything from judging and reffing, how to judge a fight, how to look at it. Like he told me, he goes, "Look, I could have passed you after the second class, but I'm holding you to a higher standard. Like I'm going to hold you up higher than anybody else."
Well, people do. Like I love. We had you at the fight. My guy, one of the fighters walks up and he tells me afterwards what you had said. It was something along the lines is like, yeah, I stopped it. I did not stop that early. I mean, the first one knocked you out and the second one was going to send you to hell. Yeah. And your word is like law because of you've been there and done that. Mm-hmm. And that fighter walked up to me afterwards and was like, you know, I was going to bitch. But Frank, he was right. And it's because you've been there. You've done that. You know what it feels like to have to take a fight injured. You know if the guy's out there fighting hurt to collect insurance. You know what that stuff's all about.
Yeah, and I've seen guys take fights already with a busted ACL, leaning back, leaving their knee out there to get the leg kick. They want the leg kick to prove, oh no, that's what blew my ACL out, so I can get the surgery because I have no health insurance. Like this is like I've seen that stuff happen. It's crazy. Like you don't even realize it till you're in there and you're actually okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? And you go, fight, and it's like, holy crap! Like I know exactly what's happening right now. I know exactly where they're going. I know exactly what's going to happen in the next 15 seconds because I've done this myself. Like I know what's going on. So it's incredible. Like I said, I love reffing, which is why I'm never going to step back in there as a competitor. I might do some submission stuff. I might do some submission, but nothing else. Like I don't.
Well, you used to work with Dr. Ron Tripp too, right?
You're Trippy. He's my judo. He was my judo sensei. Yeah, him and Pat Burris. Yep.
Pat's amazing too.
I know, right? He's what a great guy. Haven't seen them in years. They're still in Oklahoma, all of them. But so it's like the game is adjusting. The game is getting new. Are you're still coaching? So you're staying abreast of kind of the new stuff that's going on. But you remember, like all of a sudden, Anderson Silva's front kicking everybody, knocking them out, and Lyoto Machida was doing it. And then John Jones comes in with spinning back elbows, and all of a sudden those started becoming the fad. Like it's become certain things become fads right now. What's the newest thing that's just popping out that you're like, oh, we got to start training that at our academy?
Well, you're gonna remember this. Like, do you remember you got a guy against the fence? You're holding him against the fence, and the guy C-clamps the elbow, holds it down. The guy resists, and then boom, you throw an elbow. Yeah. Well, like that's old stuff.
Yeah, that's old school.
And now, like I just heard people that's coming around now. So they're bringing back, which I think the key to victory in top level MMA is you look at what's his name? Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
No one really knew about him except for people that were really good. And then you're like, well, what's he do to win? Oh, to beat the best, the Pettises and all these guys, you got to put them against the fence. You gotta slow him down. You gotta grind him out, and you gotta win. Randy Couture.
Yeah.
Randy Couture. We were like, oh man, you gotta beat him like Randy. Put Gonzaga against the fence and outstrike him. Dirty boxing. That's coming back in a strong way. I mean, That's not a secret to anyone. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're looking
You're
how
watching
the
it all.
top guys are losing, it's by that game plan. So, I mean, you got to work off the fence now.
We saw it last night with Vadum, the way he chased Stipe Miocic. He just chased him down, head down, just throwing punches, trying to get him against the cage. And Stipe is like, I'm just trying to get out of the way. Like, I don't know what this guy was doing. And just throws that little pink, and it put him out. And that was just that little head, and then the fight was over. So it's like, yeah, you can even see the top end guys, like a great competitor like Vadum is like, get this guy against the cage, slow him down, get him to the ground, and in Vadum's case, submit him, because that's obviously what he was trying to do. But yeah, the whole game is changing again. It's amazing. And Joe, got to tell you, thanks so much for coming on here. I appreciate it. Good luck, in your training camp, staying healthy and getting ready for this fight. And I'm hoping the right opponent shows up, and that we'll talk right after you get the announcement made, and we'll break down the fight and see how it goes.
Dude, I'm excited, Frank. Thanks, brother.
You got it, brother. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon.